Hey, welcome to the 480th episode of Just Shoot It, a podcast about filmmaking, screenwriting, and directing. This episode is brought to you by patrons Timon Burkhofer, Cleve Brown, Micah Taylor, David Bradburn, and Sambo Steve, who doubled his Patreon. Shout out to all of these people because we've been working really hard to boost our Patreon numbers, and people are responding, and honestly, I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it. Like, truly. Before we started recording, Oren was like, make sure you hype these people up, and now I'm about to cry. So thank you guys. It's truly meaningful and keeps the show going. Anyway, I'm Matt Enlow.
And I'm Warren Kaplan, and today we are just honoring the patrons. Just kidding. No. Today we're talking about websites, which our patrons hopefully should have. This episode, if all goes well, should be titled Update Your Effing Website, because I think in 2025, and this 100% can change, and I'm sure people already have different opinions on this, but I think for traditional filmmakers in 2025, there's no better calling card than your website. There's no better way to sell yourself, to show your portfolio.
I'm going to go off track immediately.
Yeah. Do you think your Instagram page?
Instagram? I'm asking. Yeah.
I think Instagram is an incredible tool, but I think, to me, your website is your very curated look at how you want people to see you as a filmmaker, and Instagram is more of a record of your posts, your evolution as a filmmaker, combined with the hot stories of the week for you, of basically the last 24 hours.
And maybe community and interaction on that front, right?
Yeah, and that might even be like 50% work-related, 50% personality. Like, hey, I'm this cool, funny person. Yeah. I was walking down the street the other day. I think I told you this, and I ran into Zach Bornstein on the street. Do you know him? I met him at Oren Brimmer's party. He used to write for SNL. He writes for Shrinking now, but he's also a director.
Yes.
I think he directed for Kimmel and a bunch of other people and Corden, and just a funny guy. And it did remind me of why I like living in LA, because you just like randomly run into people that you kind of know on the street. But if you looked him up on Twitter, you would never know that he was a filmmaker. But he has, I think, tens or hundreds of thousands of followers just from his funny tweets.
Just good tweets.
Yeah. So I think...
I do know Zach. Of course I know Zach. Yeah.
I think these various tools definitely are effective. Like, some people get a lot of work through Twitter, like an AmRam, people like that. Some people get work from Instagram. But I think once you are kind of a working filmmaker and have a little bit of a portfolio, the place where you curate it, where you show people the type of filmmaker that you want to be and the type of work you want to get hired for, is your website. And this
it's your storefront.
It's your storefront.
Yeah.
And it's not just it's basically has replaced your business card, but also it's not just for directors. It's for cinematographers, production designers, screenwriters, maybe to some degree, though it's a little weirder. Actors, I don't know, my wife's website, carolewis.com, she used to have a website, but now it just goes to her IMDb entry, which is interesting. I'm on the fence about whether that's the best strategy or not, but it's definitely the way to keep her URL as up to date as possible without her having to do much work to maintain it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today I think I wanted to talk about websites with you, because you, over the past year, have kind of done a deep dive on like what moves the needle online. And I think you're super informed on just like the analytics and figuring out what's important. And
maybe obsessive is a better word than informed, to be honest, but yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It's funny. I started reading that Gary V book, Day Trading Attention, that was recommended on the podcast. It's about, how advertisers should use TikTok and different social media. Honestly, I'm not finding it that interesting, but it makes me, everything he says, I'm like, oh, Matt's talked about this before. But it's really about kind of figuring out.
I love selling. I started selling wine.
Yeah.
Is that a good Gary V? No,
probably. I'm just reading the book.
You don't know what he's out? Yeah, no.
Not really.
He's not as high pitched as that. Yeah, I'm actually
Mike Tyson voice,
a Gary V fan, actually.
Yeah. But I think a lot of what he talks about is how we need to change the way we market ourselves in 2025 compared to 2020, or compared to 2015, and really what is important to show people and tell people. And I think the combination of you knowing a lot about this stuff and me just updating my website last week just really put this on my mind. And both of us right now are also in the midst of pitching on projects, working on projects, crewing up on projects. So we also go to a lot of people's websites, DPs, production designers, costumers, makeup artists. And I think we have a lot of opinions on what those websites should look like as well.
100%. And also, in the same way that a creative team or an EP or whomever is observing us and kind of making a decision about who to hire based off of our online presence and reputation and all that other stuff, we are also doing the same kind of on both sides of the coin when it comes to other crew members, right? We're not only assessing them ourselves, but then also trying to sell them upstream, just like people are doing to us a week prior, basically.
Yeah, filmmakers get mad that they're like, that people won't hire them for something that isn't on their reel, that there's not something they've already done before. But we do the same thing. Like if we see a DP's only shot handheld indie dramas, like when we hired them to shoot like a broad dolly and jib comedy, bright comedy. No, unless they've shot a spec or something that just really lives in that world that we see on their website or on their Instagram page that kind of gets us excited about them. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about what we like to see on other people's websites. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit about how we view our websites, and then even kind of delve in a little bit into director's cuts and other things like that. But I wanted to get the technical stuff out of the way first. We've said this on the website many times. I think both of us just use a Squarespace template.
We do. Yeah.
And I honestly don't think there's much more to say than that on the topic. I don't know that our websites are the best websites out there, but I do know that they're relatively easy to update and they work,
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's that. And I think there's also where you host your videos. And I think that there's a little bit of a conversation about, should I just link to the YouTube link that's already posted, or, should I host it on Squarespace, lets you host video yourself? We both use Vimeo, and I think there's actually a pretty valid reason to just use Vimeo exclusively. And I have some YouTube links on my site that honestly I should redo.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny you bring it up, because to me it was so obvious I didn't even think that it was a thing. But yes, you should just use Vimeo to host your work for your portfolio. You don't want ads popping up in the middle of your work. You don't want people to have to skip things. You don't want things to be interrupted. You don't want the interface to change without you knowing about it.
And also, more importantly, I think Vimeo acts as an additional backup for work, which honestly, there were a couple of jobs I recently was looking for and couldn't find on any of my hard drives, and ended up just pulling the Vimeo.
Yeah, you can download the original file from Vimeo.
But the other thing is that Vimeo is public facing. And so I think you and I both get hit up for work very often from just randos, right? People we don't know who found us somehow. I always ask, hey, how'd you find me? Because I'm like, I hope it's from the podcast. And there was that one time that the producer said ChatGPT. But for the most part, it's Vimeo, right? And so I think if you were just embedding videos that from the agency's website or whatever, you're missing out on all that traffic. And same with YouTube and all that stuff. So it's another option for keeping people in your ecosystem and getting them more engaged with your work and seeing the other things that you can do.
Yeah. I mean, just as a counterpoint, I don't think I've ever been discovered via Vimeo that I know of, but I have had people.
I bet you have.
Maybe I have. Because no one's ever said it to me.
No one's ever said it to you, but also I know for sure a bunch of random people have reached out to you in the last 6 months because you always just forward them to me, or at least some of the times you do. And it always seems like that's the move. And even if it's not literally Vimeo, there's a halo effect of, okay, Vimeo and also your stuff on Instagram and, being out in the world, but with clear lines back to the rest of your work and your contact information is all adding up to a good number of opportunities.
Yeah.
A meaningful number of opportunities.
I will say, I remember when Rebecca Niles brought me to art class, kind of found me. She went to my website, she clicked on one of my Vimeo videos, and then she said, oh, and then I just watched every single thing on your Vimeo page.
On Vimeo, yeah.
So, which, you can make things public or private. The most amazing thing about it is you can make everything downloadable. So you can, if someone's like, hey, have you ever directed anything like this? You can send them, here's 4 links that you can download and put on your Dropbox or on a presentation or do whatever you want.
Or OneDrive or whatever.
Yeah. The other thing I've been doing, and I've talked about this before, but I've been uploading my stuff trying to upload it all over the place. Like last week, I uploaded a bunch of cuts, like some director's cuts and things to Source Creative. And I think I'm going to try to upload them to Frame Set and also to a few other of those websites because, I think there was a time when we're like, wait, people are using our work to reference to get their jobs. And now
other way
it's
around.
Like,
nope. Yeah.
Now I'm like, ooh, if they're referencing my work, then maybe they'll just decide to just come and hire me to do whatever the pitch is.
Yeah.
So the more you're referenced, and especially if you can manage to keep your name like directed by attached to whatever it is, obviously like a music video or a short is pretty easy, but even a commercial, when you upload it yourself, you can put the credits on.
Control it. Yeah. In a more meaningful way. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I will say you've talked about shots and it's a little buggy and it's a little hard. You have a different account than I do. Am I allowed to say that?
Sure.
Yeah. But it's not. Okay, great. You have a different account than I do. I have the free version. I think you have the paid version. And it makes a significant difference in basically, because you're uploading a bunch of big files and it's a kind of a buggy website, it's hard to know if you've successfully uploaded something or not. And so I feel like I'm constantly texting you like, hey, did this get uploaded or not? Is this available on Shots? Rather than, because I can't search myself to confirm that it actually got uploaded in the first place.
Right.
From your eye contact, I'm guessing that you are looking right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking to see if the things that I just uploaded
Sure,
and they all seem like they're up there. Yeah. I mean, I pay a lot of money. I pay $100 a month for it.
Is it worth it? I'm curious, actually.
I absolutely think it's worth it. It's like my one site it's the first site I go to when I work on a treatment.
Really?
Yeah. By far. I mean, unless I was working on a feature film, maybe I'd go to Shot Deck first, or something super customized. Maybe I would just start with like Midjourney or something like that. Or Google, if it's celebrity based or personality based, I might kind of start pulling from YouTube if it's a celebrity. But yeah, in terms of like, if I'm trying to find just amazing shots of people lost in the woods in a comedic situation, I'll probably start with Shots, and then I'll go to like Seth Green's Up the Creek, whatever, because the commercial photography is just so clean and bright, and Source Creative, which you're calling Shots, same company,
sure,
and they have everything at 1080p HD, so you can pull images and make GIFs that are really high quality. So yeah,
well, there you go.
That's where I start, but it's a lot of money to spend on something. If I didn't, but I probably use it at least 11 months a year, if not 13.
Yeah. I will say, was it you? I think it was you. Somebody mentioned Film Vibes as a new.
That was me. But I did hear about it on another podcast.
I paid for that, and it just turned in a treatment that I would say is 90% Film Vibes.
Oh, really? Did it work well? The search functionality?
Yeah, it works pretty well. I think also it's really for GIFs, and I feel like GIFs are really the name of the game now. And I was looking at that treatment, and I remarked, I was like, oh, of the 30 pages, there are 2 still images.
Yeah, it's funny. I like to sneak in the still image every like 4 or 5 pages because I don't like to be pitching back, like to be talking about something while something is like looping on the screen nonstop.
It's nice to have breaker slides and like there's a pace to it for sure. Yeah,
because I want to be able to say, especially when in my like script breakdown sections, when I'm like, okay, and then we see a shot of this, and then there's a shot of this, and then we push in on that. I'll put like kind of subtle GIFs, but I don't want to put crazy things in there because when I'm talking a lot, I don't want them to be so distracted by the GIF, Anyhow, so yes, websites, Squarespace, what do we say? Yeah, I think certain people, like if you were an engineer / director, if you were a makeup artist, like I don't know, our friend Cassie Brooksbank, her website is insane. It's got all these pictures of her in action poses. It's lying dead on the top of a red sports car with blood all over her. It's really cool, but I do think that, especially in the commercial space, but I think in any directing space, like it's a lot about the what we call like motion, the work, the videos that you've directed. I think for her, there's like a greater brand going on, and so she kind of is like creating a brand that lives outside of her specific work that she's done. But
yeah, let's talk about that a little bit though, because I think that like, so to catch people up, we can use Cassie as an example, but I think there's a lot like direct, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Director groups, not consortiums, not duos, collectives. Like director collectives, like Radio Silence or like Shinola back in the day, or AV Club. There were like groups, or the Dads now, that kind of work under a moniker, partially because like a moniker works a little bit better than Matt Enlow and Oren Kaplan directing duo. Like there's something cool about it. But
yeah,
I think music videos in particular, but also commercials, there is mystique around certain directors, a bigger, broader brand, right? So Cassie is a good example. I don't think I've ever seen her when she's not wearing at least one piece of black clothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's all a little theatrical, and she's got like cool bleach blonde hair, and like, you take a picture with her and she throws devil horns up and sticks her tongue out.
She's punk rock.
She's punk rock. It's so fun, but like a little glam and a little like Sunset Strip, right? So it's a very clear aesthetic that she's going for. So you look at her, you go to her website, and it's all art directed. It's all black and red and bleach blonde. And like, she's shooting a camera directly into the lens. She's all beat up. She's got a bow tie hanging around her neck. It's a vibe, right?
Yeah. And she is, it's probably worth mentioning, she's like pretty active in like the narrative space. She has a feature that's like, like an action movie. That genre is where she loves to live, even though she's directed all sorts of stuff.
But so you look at this one splash page of a cool director standing on a beat up, Camaro with bullet holes all over it, and there's smoke in the air, and she's shooting a photo of you back at you, and you immediately understand what she's great at, right? There's energy, there's motion, there's vibe, there's a little bit of action, it's a little bit punk rock. Like, you don't have to look at the rest of her reel to see the sort of spots that she would be perfect for, right? And I think with our sites, we're
a little less
certainly a little less punk rock and a little less concise. We're making you work for it a little bit more, right? Even though we've got a bunch of motion gifs of our work all over the place, right? And it's like celebrities and this and that. I don't know. I think we could both take a page from her book. I wonder if maybe an Instagram angle makes a little bit more sense for more personality for us, and that we treat our websites more as portfolios. But I think branding is real. We are marketing professionals, whether we acknowledge it or not. And all filmmakers, whether you're narrative or otherwise, are in charge of your brand. It's the first way of saying, hey, this is what I do, and this is what I think, and this is what I like to make,
Yeah. I think a great example of comedy and branding in a website is dummyfilms.com. It's Harold Einstein's website. It's super simple, but like when you go to dummyfilms.com, it says like, hey, dummy, on it.
Yeah.
And his work is like very unassumedly, you click on his name, Harold Einstein, and then he just has names of brands like Geico. You click on Geico and you see a commercial pop up.
Harold, if you're ever listening, please,
you're welcome to come on the
show,
on the podcast, and just help us redesign our websites.
I think he might be my favorite commercial director. I literally was just on that site yesterday, and I realized half the spots. I was like, oh, I referenced this spot in something recently. I would say that, like, yes, like his work is, I think it's kind of antithetical to what I was describing with Cassie, and it's not a minimalist maximalist comparison. I think he's letting the work do all of the lifting, 100% of the lifting.
Yeah. But I think he's just kind of a known brand already in the world, so he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to,
do much. I think Paul Briganti, do you remember his website?
I don't, actually.
I'm pretty sure it like has nothing on it.
Oh, yes.
He might have even taken his website down. Oh, it's pauljbriganti.com. It's a picture of him smiling and a list of his reps. Literally, that's it. No work.
Yeah.
So, sometimes if you got swagger, you can pull that off.
It's a nice picture, Paul.
Yeah. It looks like it's at the farmer's market.
Farmer's market, yeah.
But it's, I think probably most people listening to this podcast, including us, people don't know sometimes who Matt Enlow is or who Oren Kaplan is. And they're like, oh, who's Oren Kaplan? Let's Google him. Let's go to his website. Like, oh, okay, now I get an idea. I think if you go to Paul Briganti's website without knowing who he is, you probably don't get much of an idea other than his reps. And he has amazing reps.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think when the reps are doing that work for you, then you don't need to put in that time, and then maybe it kind of hurts your mystique a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I think that it's worth
Like Steven
caveating.
Spielberg doesn't have a website trying to hawk his wares.
And also you and I.
But Joseph Kahn does,
Sure. So I think you, me, and Joseph Kahn have all of this in common in that we are like down to hustle and we're a little shameless,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any problem being like, yes, I like to work very much, and here I'm going to show you that work. And I know that like there are other directors who trade in mystique and cool more than I do, and I kind of pretty explicitly got over that. And
but you think of people like James Gunn, like there's huge directors that are out there talking about their work all the time.
Sure.
Like I think that it used to be, there was an era when movie stars wouldn't go on a TV show because it seemed cheap to them.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like talking about what you do, who you are, what you care about is not a negative point. It doesn't cheapen you, Yeah. We literally have a president that posts memes, So it's like there's no rule about like self-promotion on. I mean, I think there's stuff that comes off as like tacky,
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that everybody likes to work and everyone is doing a version of self-promotion. I'm saying that our brands are different than Harold Einstein's.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that guy's a genius. It's fucking Einstein.
Oh shit, dummy.
And anyhow, well, so I think that's enough about how to construct the site. Do whatever you think is best. The most important part in my mind is that it's updatable and that you know how to update it. You don't have to call your web person that set up your website to change something
or it costs you $25 every time you shoot them an email or whatever it is. Yeah.
So Squarespace is an easy way. There's a million websites like that, Wix or whatever you want to use, Canva, to create your portfolio. Just make it easy, make it updatable, especially if you want to be a filmmaker for a living and that's what you do all day. So
actually, before you move on, I think that the other big takeaway is I think you need to be honest with yourself about what your brand is and what you're pitching. And Oren and I lead with the work, and sometimes you lead with the vibe, and that explains the work, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of nuance in between, but like we lack vibe, so all we got is the work.
No, I recently lost a big job.
Yeah.
And I think it was due to vibe.
Yeah.
And when you don't have like something super sleek or cool and a persona that's super sleek or cool, and you don't get people excited to like hang out with you because you're so cool, you have to, substitute that with like really awesome ideas or a killer portfolio or some point of view that no one else has thought of.
And those other people have to come up with all those awesome ideas as well. I think that they've just done a little bit of advanced work in their persona in priming the audience to understand what they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's like, you and I are probably not going to get like $5 million Nike spot or even a $500,000 Louis Vuitton spot.
Yeah. I don't think either you or I is going to get a $50,000 Louis Vuitton spot. Not that they make them, but like,
yeah.
To your point.
Unless it was like Louis Vuitton is for like old nerds too.
Yeah. Louis Vuitton and New Balance do a collab.
New Balance, I'd love to get into that space.
Sure. Wait, a Lacoste polo. Wait, a Costco polo? Perfect.
Anyhow, yes. So brands are important and all that stuff. Let's get into the specifics of crew websites, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And when I say crew, I'm just talking about the people that we are hiring. We call it the DP and production designer and the costume.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Crew, right?
Yeah. But what you're saying is portfolio websites, essentially.
Yes. So that's, I think I'm working in a certain place where when I get a job, I want to show the people that hire me the potential cinematographers and production designers and people.
I've taken a page out of your playbook. I sometimes will, if I have the perfect DP that's going to plus this or fill a hole that maybe I have in my resume, like maybe there's a lot more food than I have on my reel or something. I would get the person who's shot 1,000 milk commercials to do this next milk spot with me or something like that. So even in advance of us booking the work, their website is crucial in not only us booking them, but also us getting the job in the first place.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think to me, like when I show a website of a cinematographer, I'm trying to show the person that might hire me the level of work that I'm trying to achieve, or the type of people that I want to work with. It might be a non-union, no celebrity thing, but I'm going to get Adam Bricker, the cinematographer of Hacks and Chef's Table, to do, and my college humor video, to do this high, like this elevated, refined comedic piece with a food section in it. And he just got nominated for an ASC award for Chef's Table, and he won the ASC award for his HBO comedy. And so it's a slam dunk to be like, hey, Adam Bricker, but maybe they've never heard of Adam Bricker. So I put his website, and they go there, and he happens to have a great website. So that
and also is a
helpful.
commercial director himself. So there's probably not a coincidence there. But so
there have been many times where I want to hire someone. Sometimes it's a production designer that I've worked with. I've worked with her 20 times. I know she's awesome. I know she's going to stretch our budget.
You hired me partially thanks to their work.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I know that that for this client, this product, art direction is really important, and agencies usually know a lot about art direction. They usually have an art director on staff that is deciding what this look is, and they're watching eye candy, and they're on Instagram, and they're at Little Black Book and Ad Age, and they know what's cool and what's not cool, right? And so when you say, oh, this is who I want to hire as our production designer, she's perfect, and then you send them to her website, and it's just like small, crappy quality images. You click on it and it's just stills. There's no video to watch. The website itself isn't designed nice. The typography isn't nice, all that stuff. It's really putting a dent in the odds of them getting excited. And that at that point, one of two things happens. Either they say, we don't really see it. Can you show us someone else? Which are like, yeah, of course, no worries. I'll show you someone else. And that person, unbeknownst to them, just lost a job that was easily theirs.
Yeah.
Or they'll say, well, we don't really see it, but if you really feel strongly about her, Oren, we can hire her.
We trust you.
Everything's on you. Any single thing in art department, the wrong prop, the wrong this, the wrong that. It's all of a sudden like, we knew it. Why did we let Oren,
Not even we knew it. Why do we let Oren? Just like, oh, just subliminally, you just lost a point.
Yeah, exactly.
And, if you lose enough points, all of a sudden they're just like, well, this one didn't turn out well, did it? Regardless, honestly, of whether or not the spot is great or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I firmly
the resources are great, or the creative's great. I mean,
it
doesn't matter if people have $100 million or $100. They'll always expect to get
it. Great. Yeah.
Every actor needs to be Will Ferrell, and every scene needs to look like it's a Wes Anderson, set. And every camera move needs to be, Greg Fraser from Dune. It's so like the expectations are sky high no matter what the budget is. So yeah.
And we know that. That's our job, right? And so we're doing our best to use whatever resources we have to get the best image possible, and to be strategic about that. You don't shoot in a space where you don't have enough extras to fill it, And so, but yeah, I think that the buck always stops with us, but I think you and I both are the type of people that tend to get in our heads when we stick our neck out for someone. We just become a little bit more aware of the job, our perception, basically, how we're being perceived as a result of that.
Yeah, and when you're first starting out and you're paying for things yourself, or you have no money, and you're just basically begging people to work with you for free, or to donate their time or donate their gear, it's one thing. But once you're paying them and you have a little bit of a budget to hire people, and you have a little bit of a choice, that's when the website really, really makes a huge difference. And just this month, I've had not been able to hire people because I've sent people to their website and they are just not as impressive as a cinematographer I know is not as experienced or talented, but they just have.
I have a better website. Yeah.
And why? And the reason it's unfair in one way, because it's why are we judging you based on this website? You're not a web developer. But I think that your website is what you choose to put on it, right? No one else gets to choose other than you what goes on your website. So if you put crappy things on there, even though you've done good things, then we're judging your taste, right? Even if you're super busy or your website is too hard to update.
Yeah.
You're being judged by what clips you choose to put on your website, what stills you choose to put on your website, how nice your website looks.
So how intuitive it is. Yeah. And also, I would say how clear your point of view is. And this one's tough, especially for cinematographers, but also for actors, also for directors. We all want to show our breadth, to show like, oh yeah, I can do it all. I did the, World War II short in college and, a slasher film right after school, and also these 3 great commercials. And none of those have anything to do with one another, right?
Yeah, and these cool promos. Yeah.
Right. And so, that's especially tricky for cinematographers because we're going to hire them for one specific look on one specific job. But in general, they don't know which look people are looking for at any given time. So they're trying to cover bases, right? So I get it, for sure. But I think that when we're working in the commercial space in particular, and we're comedy people, you got to have some like nice, bright, poppy, funny commercials at the top of your website.
Yeah. And I think this kind of goes back to what my next point was going to be, which is we've complained a lot about people's websites without really giving a ton of guidance on what they should put on there. But to your point, I think what you should put at the very top of your website is the type of work that you really want to do. And maybe most DPs don't want to do bright comedy, but they know that there's works in that case.
I want to augment that sentence to not the work you want to do, to the work you want to get hired for.
Yeah, I think
it is different, though, right? Like, especially a cinematographer might be like, well, I want to shoot, the next HBO dramedy, but like, are you up for that one right now? Because right now I've got a underwear commercial that would pay your rent.
Right. Yeah. No, of course, there's kind of there's that whole part of it. But I think to me, the solution for that, if you're a cinematographer, production designer, costumer, is you can say, hey, this is my high fashion stuff, and this is my comedy stuff, and this is my drama stuff. Just split up into sections, and God, please let it be URL addressable so that I can send someone to your comedy page. I can send someone to your fashion page. I can send someone to your drama page. So when I'm pitching you, I can show them the stuff that I think you're right for right at the beginning. They don't have to scroll down half a web page in order to see your first comedy spot.
Yeah.
And then I think on the front page, you can put like your feature. These are my favorite things. If you do narrative and commercials, which probably 90% of DPs do, put like a great narrative spot and then put a freaking Audi spot or a Bose spot or a Nike spot or Apple spot or whatever you've got.
I would say also, if you're a DP, that these movies are not Dune, like if they're not super, super mainstream and explicitly known for their cinematography, it's okay to throw a laurel or two. Let us know it's from like a South by Southwest Audience Choice Award winner.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever, TIFF, all of that stuff. Like,
if it's not a top 10 festival, maybe consider pushing it down on the website a little.
Yeah.
If the still isn't beautiful. Because you want the imagery to be beautiful, but let's say you shot a mumblecore feature for no money and it premiered at Newport Beach Film Festival.
Yeah, for sure. Great festivals, probably a good movie, does not have cachet. Because that's what we're talking about here.
Right.
So let me ask you a thought experiment here, Oren. And I can this is relatively feasible. You shot a cool indie that premiered at Cleveland or somewhere, like again, a good festival, or like Seattle International, like an awesome festival. And maybe it got even a small theatrical run, but people haven't really heard of it, right? That looks pretty good. But the trailer, maybe you would recut it or whatever. You have some notes from a cinematography perspective, or a celebrity from a couple years ago, say like White Lotus season 1, Steve Zahn or somebody like that, right? Recognizable for sure, but like you recognize their moment was a couple years ago now. That looks fine.
Before we hear any haters, like we know Steve Zahn.
I fucking love Steve Zahn.
He's been around forever and will be around forever.
I have a list of like the people I would love to work with, and Steve Zahn is top 10. I love Steve Zahn. So anyway, but but that's my point. It's like, they're kind of like two good samples that have some caveats to them.
Right.
What's higher on the site too?
Between the kind of celebrity of the moment versus what was the other option?
Like a moderately received indie.
I guess, and you're a cinematographer or you're a director?
Cinematographer. But the answer for both. I think the answer is the same for both.
I guess I would probably, you're not going to like my answer, but I
think we agree.
Consider which one looks better from a still, which one has a better still.
Oh, I think the answer is the celebrity.
Is always at the top.
It's
Yeah,
always,
I mean,
it's always the
it depends.
celebrity.
If you have a Sundance laurels, I think that maybe beats Steve Zahn. If you have Newport Beach laurels, I think Steve Zahn beats him. I think there's kind of a certain hierarchy, but again, it obviously depends what you want to be hired for. If you're really trying to get an indie film, then the festival laurels are valuable because you have some sort of track record. If you're trying to get commercial work, the celebrity is, and
I'll
even
take you on a little detour actually, because I think that if you got onto the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, and you looked at the progress of my website over the last 10, 15 years, at the beginning, once I had a body of work, at the beginning, it was just like a sizzle reel of like half-finished music video ideas and proofs of concept just to try to look like I'd done a decent amount of work. Once I had like a body of work, there was still a lot of categories. There were features, there were, a web series, there was sketch, there was commercials. Now, fast forward, it's just commercials. Do I still want to do sketches and narrative work and podcasts and features and all this stuff? 100%. But you don't get jobs
for that
work through your website in the same way that maybe you sort of used to. If you are trying to make a feature or trying to get hired for a feature, the feature has its own website, right? Like if you're fundraising or whatever, you're going to orensfantasticfilm.com.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that a website isn't important for that stuff. It absolutely is, but it's its own thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's kind of where we landed, is that our websites are our business cards for director for hire. They're not our business cards for passion project necessarily. Yeah, I directed 2 features. They're not, you can't even watch the trailer on my website. You know about them if you go to About. If you're interested enough about me personally to read my entire bio, you'll see that I directed the features, and you maybe can click on them and it'll take you to an IMDb entry, or maybe you can find a trailer through some links you click on. But yeah, I wanted to just give, before we hop into directors' websites, I wanted to just give 2 thoughts on things that you could do as a cinematographer, costume designer, production designer, makeup artist, just little, like you can get bonus points. The first is if you have worked on things that you don't think are objectively good, that you maybe even think are bad, but you feel like your work was really good, then just pull stills, Yeah. It's a little annoying. Like usually when I click on a still, I want to see the video play. But if I clicked on a still and it took me to a page of 10 stills that all were really beautiful and I could use them to pitch you.
And we couldn't tell how bad the script is as a result with it, for sure. Yeah.
So I think stills, I've seen a lot of cinematographers and production designers do stuff like that. And I think it works because really we just want to show people what your work is and can be. My second thing, and this is like, if you have time, if you're kind of not on a job right now, I do think adding some behind the scenes type 100%. Of stuff is super valuable. So if you click on a project that you worked on, if you are a production designer showing some of your set renders, before and after photos, if you are a costume designer showing some of your sketches for the designs of the costumes, if you are a cinematographer showing camera setups, light plots, different things like that, the type of stuff you would put on Instagram, it's great to put that on a website because it instantly gives the person hiring you something to talk about. Like, hey, I saw your light plots. Like, can we talk about that? Hey, I saw your renders. How do we start thinking about that? It's
just about depth, right? Like, we'll get to this, but I'm pretty obsessive about my analytics. So I know that like people who hire me spend 3.5 minutes on my website. Right.
Well, I think that's a good segue. Let's jump into.
Well, but to finish the point though, me flipping through your book and seeing like, oh, okay, like
when you say book, you mean portfolio.
I mean
right?
portfolio. Pardon me. That's too much advertising talk right there. But like when I'm looking through your portfolio and I'm seeing like, okay, I can scan renders and BTS photos and stuff without watching the whole short film or the live to tape play that you did if you're a costume designer, and see all of the good work without having to like dig too deep, right? Without spending a ton of time, which is in reality how people are going to be shopping for you, right? Like you've seen the data, we've done it ourselves 1,000 times. And again, we're selling people through. So I'm slacking a team like, hey guys, this is who I think would be perfect for this job. They're busy. They're in back-to-back meetings. They click on your website. They browse it real quick. A minute and a half later, you have a job or you don't.
Right. Yeah. So I think what you're saying is let people present the information to people in a way that they can consume it super fast.
And legibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And control the narrative as a result. Right.
Yeah. And so I do think that's a good segue now to talking about directors' websites and our websites. And the thing that I learned from our friend Matt Lancaster, that he said, you're really only as good as the worst thing on your website, and how important it is to curate your website, put things on there that you want to get hired for, like you said, or the type of stuff that you want to direct, and don't put anything that is bad. It can have a celebrity in it. It can have, bad is very subjective.
I'll augment it. Nothing you have to caveat.
Yeah,
right?
Ideally. When you're starting out and you have 2 specs and 1 commercial that your aunt hired you to direct.
Yeah.
Then maybe you have some stuff that's not great, but trying to make it great.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that'll shortcut our conversation to get to director's cuts, which is, I told you before we started recording that I was listening to this other podcast. There's this director named Adam Patch at Stepped, and he's really talented. He's also comes from like a tech VFX background, like me. So maybe I connected with him extra from listening to his interview. But he was talking about another amazing director, Ian Pons-Jewell, who's like kind of the it director a couple years ago, that just makes amazing, insane commercials. And he said on this podcast, he said, I was watching Ian Pons-Jewell's work and just realizing, like, just wondering how he got to do all this crazy stuff. Like people saying crazy things, weird things happening, like offensive things happening, like in like visuals you would never believe would be on TV. And he's like, and I was like, I couldn't believe that this guy gets away with all this stuff. And then he realized that every single cut he saw on Ian Pons-Jewell's website was a director's cut. And that Ian Pons-Jewell thinks about the director's cut first, and then there's a client cut, So his cut, the main cut, is his cut. And he always goes in with a plan to have that. And so when you see this amazing, crazy, out there, revolutionary work that Ian Pons-Jewell does, and you're like, how the hell did he get that done? It's because you're watching director's cuts.
And moreover, people are hiring him because of those director's cuts. So maybe the agency cut is primed to be more like the director's cuts as time goes on. And there's a smaller gap between what he's aiming for and what they're hiring him to do.
And so this director's cut kind of comes back to the idea of when someone goes to your website, they see the clips that you chose to put on there. They see the edits that you think are good enough to put on your website. They're all
director's cuts in a certain sense, right?
They are all cuts that you as the director said, I think this cut is good enough to represent my work.
Yeah.
So if it's one line that you hate, if it's one sound effect that you think is embarrassing, if it's the music, if it's the color grade, if it's any of those things, I'm not saying don't put it on your site, because sometimes it's the best thing you've ever directed, even though you hate the color grade. But if you can, get it in log, or just get the final cut in the highest ProRes file you can, and then just regrade it to be something that you're proud of. And then you can say, yeah, this is more or less what I was going for.
It's funny, Oren, because they give you a little bit of a hard time for your director's cuts. And my favorite work in recent memory, I regraded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and it doesn't even matter if nobody else notices. I do think every small move moves the needle. Like I
think a color grade in particular really does. Actually,
I think everything, sound design, music selection, does a ton, right. Just a straight cut versus this cool transition that you planned out that couldn't fit in the 15-second edit, but it fits in your 17-second edit. Yeah. Right now I have like 3 things I'm re-editing, and the only difference is that the shots are just a hair longer so that the transition is smoother or better. And I honestly think it's a difference between them making it to be on my website versus not making it to be on my website. So, I think that the way you present yourself in your website has a lot to do with it. And by the way, if you are working on your website, I don't recommend you send it to like every filmmaker. Only send it to people whose opinion you respect, who you feel like understand what you do, and also
maybe even literally do what you do. You know what I mean?
But also people who's like, you can, like you and I can give each other's notes, and we have the 100%. Capability to ignore half the notes and take 100%. Half the notes. And continue beyond that. Sometimes some people I can't get notes. Like some people's notes really bother me, and I can't really take notes from them. And other people don't like to get notes from me. And, I love giving notes. And so it's you be careful with who you get feedback from, but I think it's really valuable to get feedback, especially on what stuff looks like polished and slick and expensive, like production value, and then performance. As a director, even though our job is performance, sometimes we're just really bad judges of what of our stuff works and doesn't work. Like I had
we're
one
just clouded by all of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a hard shoot day. I didn't really like the agency cut. So even though this fixed it, or this was the one usable take and it forced the edit in so many other ways, all of that stuff just gets in our head. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had one spot on my site that I really like, a Popeye spot that I made a director's cut that I thought kind of elevated it, like took it from a kind of normal 15 to kind of like a super dynamic 15 that I crammed a lot of things in it. And you're like, yeah, there's basically this one transition that feels kind of like After Effects-y to me. And I was like, I agreed with you. I was like on the fence on whether that's a bad thing or a good thing, even though I'm pretty sure I'm the one that called it After Effects-y.
Yeah, I didn't.
But I did feel like it was a valid enough criticism that I could see how some people might think that. And I was looking for things to cut. So and now it's not on my site anymore,
Sure.
And I also feel like it was on my site for a long enough time, because that was one of my older spots, that I've already gotten my mileage out of it. And now I kind of want to see how the new stuff is playing a little better.
Yeah. You have more spots on your site than I do. I feel like I really, really trimmed in a pretty hardcore way. Like there's I want to say 6 things that are featured. And then if you click through,
you have 10 spots.
10 spots. Yeah.
And I think I'm at 26.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I do feel like, you and I both do this now. We have GIFs for our thumbnails, and per your analytics, a lot of people are literally just watching the GIFs.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like I have 26 GIFs that I like, and that I would be happy to get a job directing something like what that GIF is saying.
I think that, look, you have a really large body of work that all is
big bone. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But all is of a certain caliber. So it makes winnowing things down hard for sure. I felt like with my work, I only wanted the A+ work to be on there. And that meant 10 spots basically. And to get an A+, it had to feel current. Do you know what I mean? It couldn't feel 2 DSLR or something like that. Whereas some older directors, every once in a while you'll be like, oh, they shot that on film. That's a 16 millimeter spot. And it's funny or stylish or whatever. But
it's 4x3.
It's 4x3. Exactly. Yeah. And some of my favorite commercials are 4x3. But I felt like that kind of knocked things out. Or if it felt too social media, for instance, even if it was funny. I have been debating, because I've been getting a lot of social work lately and it's fun.
I know. You're kind of you have a really good resume for it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I'm do I do a social tab? Yeah. Yeah. I have a really good,
I think you make one, and whether
Yeah.
it's linked to from your main page, or it's just a separate tab that you can send people that are looking for that type of work, I think it would be valuable for you. Because even you and I have talked, I've talked to people. I'm like, oh, Matt, he's he really knows this space, soft scripted comedy, unscripted, kind of navigating around that. And I personally think if I'm hiring a director to do something like soft scripted, it makes me feel so much more confident if I hire someone who's done it before, because it can
100%.
Be scary to do.
Yeah.
For
but
the
that
first
stuff
time.
Isn't as cool looking. Celebrities don't tend to want to
be
do
as cinematic.
It's it's much more.
Whatever that means.
Sure. But you less composed or less intentional. It feels much more haphazard because it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I had just one other thing I wanted to say about websites is, check out, I guess the kind of the age of things is kind of interesting. You brought it up. Nikki had me keep this one spot I did with Angela Kinsey, and I'm going to reveal the age in 2018. So 7 years ago.
But it doesn't feel old.
Yeah, I wonder what we shot. I probably shot on the red MX. No, it's been newer than that. Probably it might have been Alexa.
No, it's probably
Alexa,
Scarlett. I thought it was a Scarlett.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the better camera at that time? The red. There was the Scarlett was the cheap one, and there was a more expensive red. And I'm sure everyone listening to this is yelling it at their podcast app. But I asked Nikki, I was like, why would I put this old spot? It's low budget. It's so old. And she said, I think it's just funny and her performance is good.
I think also, for better or worse, people still love The Office and love putting that cast into whatever they're willing to shill for,
Yeah. I was flying today and like the woman next to me was watching The Office the entire time.
Look, the show's great. And like, they feel like your friends. So of course you would buy, I don't know, an air conditioner from.
Yeah. You made a good point. You said you put it at the bottom of your website. People scroll down here and they're like, what is this little Angela Kinsey thing? And you click on it and it's funny. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. There's still nice, good comedy at the bottom of the site. That maybe means that he's good at comedy or something.
And like, you put it at the bottom, so it's probably kind of the worst. It's like the thing you buried. And if that's pretty good, then, you almost kind of want to, it's important that you close strong, right?
Yeah. What do you put at the top? I mean, let me look at MrMedInLaw.com.
I tend to put the newest thing at the top.
So you have, it's funny you bring up White Lotus.
Sure.
Because you have at the top, you did some work with Patrick Schwarzenegger recently for Kettle One, and it looks good, and it's Patrick Schwarzenegger, and you have that as your first spot, and as your second spot, you have the Raid video game spot, which looks really beautiful and has like kind of scope. It takes place in an airport and on an airplane, and so you kind of chose the celebrity right now, and just kind of a high production value spot.
And my Trojan spot, I think, comes out the day after this releases. It'll probably be the number one spot. It probably bumps Patrick. I'm not sure. Because also Patrick, this kind of goes into all of this. He's a Schwarzenegger, but we all know him from the most recent White Lotus season. A year from now, we're not going to be thinking about that White Lotus season in the same way. It'll probably, unless he pops off, sink a little bit lower.
I think you bump him down one spot. You bump everyone down one spot, except maybe you move Retta behind Barack Obama. Because this other thing, Carlin and I talked about this a lot, is like you don't want to put two very similar spots next to each other on the website, because it's like, this guy only shoots,
just only works
kids, or only dogs. Like I have a lot of dogs, and I try to distribute them across my website so it doesn't look like I'm just a dog person. And even celebrities, I kind of try to distribute them. All that stuff.
You might want to just make a separate, to your advice about my social work, you might just want a separate pet food animal.
Yeah. Well, don't listen, agencies, but that's the dog food stuff, man. It's
hard. It's really
a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'd love to do some comedy with humans.
You don't get to go have drinks with the dog afterward and take a selfie.
No, dude, you're not even allowed to pet it when it's on set.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's like the biggest tease ever.
I did do, if you work with puppies, once they're not really trainable, then you get to pet them. I should have taken one home. I was really close to.
The last puppies I worked with, they had to sanitize the entire set before they came on. And no one was allowed to touch them.
Yeah, because they're so young. Yeah.
9 weeks old. Yeah.
Anyhow,
what I was going to say, and this might be dangerous, but I was going to tell our listeners to check out my website. It's directedbyoren.com. We talked about good URLs already. Your name.com is a pretty good place to start. If that's not available, directed by your name, or Matt Enlow director.
Mine is MrMattEnlow.com, which is nice because I have Mr. Matt Enlow for all of my social media handles as well. So I liked the consistency.
Yeah.
But if you put a joke in your name or your brand in any way, know that you have to live with it forever. So people call me Mr. Matt, especially when they first meet me.
I think that's cool.
4 out of 5 times. And it's a fine joke. I think it's cute, but it's just that MattEnlow.com was taken by a nice math teacher in Colorado.
People call me directed by. Yeah, but check out my website, directedbyoren.com. Send me one note.
There you go.
You can find my email on the website. And I will, and then send me your website, and I will send you 2 notes.
You will.
In return.
But
on your website.
Be ready, everyone, because you won't like them.
Be ready to get torn apart, but they'll be 100% honest things that I think you could do to make your website better.
I was going to say go to my website, but we didn't talk about analytics that much. And I'm always thrown off by when I go to my site or when there's kind of an anomaly. So let's talk about it for a second, actually, because I don't know how deep we've gotten into it.
Well, I think a lot of the stuff we learned, especially about how much time people spend on sites and how to make them consumable really fast, to give a broad overview of who you are as a filmmaker in the first minute. You told me something really interesting, which I didn't know about I use the term above the fold
Mhm.
a little bit in jest. It's an old newspaper term that's like
And
newspapers
an
used to
old
be
web
folded in
development
half.
tool. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever is on the top half of the newspaper above the fold is what everyone
Mhm.
sees, right? That's what's in
Right.
the newspaper stand. And then people that are reading the newspaper unfold it and they start going down to what's below the fold. And so, in the web world, it's like what's at the top of your website and then whether people scroll or not.
Yeah.
You told me
it even got
that's
more
not a
specific.
thing anymore.
It's not a thing anymore. But it used to be like, okay, you would build your site for the standard screen resolution, like the most common screen resolution. And so then you could kind of know, okay, like people are going to have to start scrolling at this point of the site. So this is everything that's going to appear on the load, basically. And you would get like analytics of like heat maps, basically, of where people were looking, where people were clicking, all of that statistics. So it used to be pretty real and hasn't been for like 20 years. Like now people scroll immediately,
Right.
And so I think that there is implied intent behind our order, and that is more important than the likelihood that people won't scroll to the bottom. They will scroll to the bottom. Maybe not all the way, but like, a decent amount for sure.
Yeah. So that's something you've confirmed with analytics is when people come to your site, they kind of
go everywhere. They go everywhere. You can see what videos are getting impressions versus what's getting watched through. But I can say that because my site does not get a ton of traffic, a spike of an agency reviewing my work, like showing enough interest to kind of like click through and like peruse the other things, shows up in page views. Not in terms of like time spent necessarily, but the number of people. And so you'll see a little spike and you'll be like, oh, I'm probably going to get this job. Like you could map my site traffic to when I book things pretty consistently. I think that it's important to remember that I'm freelance. And so they're not on a production company website looking the same way, right? Like if you go to artclass.com/Oren Kaplan, there's enough there to keep you preoccupied and get an additional taste of what you do. But in general, I believe that people are looking at our websites when they're on the fence, when they've narrowed it down, right? Because reps or production companies have sent the agency a reel and they're like, oh, we like this reel, we're interested, but it's between you and another person or two. That's when they start doing the deep dives. The same way that we do with an actor, right? Like, these two people are both really good. Let me go on their Instagram and see what else what do they look like in other circumstances? Do you know what I mean?
I've had so many times where I'm like, ooh, this actor is really good, but their look is not right in this audition.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm literally finding them on Instagram and trying to show the agency, look, this is what they look like with their hair down, or this is like what they look like with a hat on,
or out with their friends or whatever. Like, oh no, this is what they look like when they're having a genuinely good time, not in
better
a weird
lighting. Yeah.
So I think there's that. I think also, I got sent an email list that like talked a lot about like the way that Meta has reconfigured what is getting searched for. So Meta is of course Facebook and Instagram. It's kind of the parent company for all of those. But like all of your Instagram data is scrapable and searchable and all contributes to your SEO ranking. And so I haven't really done this, but if you wanted to get a little crazy, you could make sure that all of your images on your website and on your Instagram are named appropriately, are tagged appropriately, and have alt tags. Exactly. So essentially what we're talking about, SEO, search engine optimization, essentially is just giving Google clues on how valid and important and authoritative the different links are that drive to any specific piece of content, right? So if OrenKaplan.com or directedbyoren.com has 1,000 different instances where comedy with a post that mentions comedy in a meaningful way and then also commercial directing and has a bunch of likes is pointing at his website, Google realizes like, oh, Oren's pretty legit. We should feature him more importantly in search rankings. Again, all in the weeds, but that stuff does sort of add up. And if you are thinking about just being thoughtful as you're adding things rather than going retroactively and trying to clean everything up, I think that is, people have said that is a contributing factor to success. So if you want to get nerdy about things, to me, whether you're a person who's really obsessed with their website, or they don't even have a website because their reps just send their stuff out, or they're allergic to social media, the thing that all of this amounts to is the way in which you want to approach being a director, and the way in which you want to approach your business, and how you believe your brand should exist in this modern economy. And some people relish that work and dig in on it and get really nerdy. And if you are one of those people, then there are lots of opportunities to do that. And if you're not, I think it's worth interrogating, thinking that through, because is it because you're scared? Is it because you're bored? Is it because you don't want to? If you don't want to and you think it's stupid, okay. If you don't want to because you got into the business of directing to avoid all that stuff, I hate to break it to you, but directing has spreadsheets and SEO and marketing and branding. Just go back to that conversation with Jamal Parham a couple of weeks ago. We dig in on branding in a meaningful way, and he's having fun and like skilling up, right? And that's all I'm describing, basically.
Yeah, it's funny. I had written in our cheat sheet a simpler version of this, which is update your website and then email it out to people. But I think you're kind of taking it like 10 steps farther about like how to make yourself findable as a filmmaker, how to leverage the internet to build a network of people you don't even know yet, and making sure they know that you are a director.
All of which is just, but you just have to do great work, and you have to email people about it. But like, that's showing up for your business, posting on LinkedIn, posting on Instagram, whatever. Maybe you're not a LinkedIn person. That's okay. But like, again, it's about your brand. I am.
Yeah. And if no one's hiring you to shoot stuff, just shoot it yourself, you know?
There you go.
Well, thanks, Matt, for this conversation about websites and making me feel guilty about my lack of SEO work.
You got to rename your images before you upload them. Boy. Boy.
Yeah,
or just email them.
I'll
Honestly, just email them. Just email people that you have worked with and write a nice note and with the work that you're proud of. And that's most of it.
Yeah. I'm going to get around to, hey, new website, check it out, post. But
I don't know. I don't know that new website.
Yeah, maybe not new website. Maybe
I guess a social media post is okay. I wouldn't email someone, hey, new website.
Right.
Whereas I would email someone, hey, new work I thought you'd like. Here's why.
Yeah. I mean, but what if I email like a producer I've worked with before and said, hey, how are you doing? I love this thing you just did. By the way, I've done a lot of new work. Kind of the highlights are on my website if you, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be okay.
I know you're a fan of the like, hey, I love your stuff. And signed MrMattInLow.com.
I am.
So that's the cleanest, that's the simplest way of doing it. But yeah, anyhow, we'd love to hear from you all listeners. You can email us at justshootitpod@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram at justshootitpod. We'd love to hear what you think about websites and how you disagree with all the things that we just said.
Or if you've got a deep cut. I'm ready for somebody to be like, yes, I posted case studies of all of my directing and it's changed my life. Right.
Yeah. Like an optimization method of getting work.
Yeah.
Yes. Before we end the episode, do you have a minute to endorse something with me?
I do indeed.
Unpaid endorsements.
I'm going to endorse something. I'm going to endorse a philosophy that's really important to me that I've probably talked about on the show and also in the movie, but they're combined. So I went to film school. I majored in watching movies. I was not in production. I was in critical studies. That's like getting an English major and watching movies. And my roommates and all of my friends were real cinephiles. Just like the deepest cut, nerdiest nerds when it came to watching movies. Like one is an archivist for Mocha now.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you know how you have a hat that says movies?
Mm-hmm.
When I was traveling this past weekend, I saw this woman that had a hat that said books. Have you seen that one before?
No.
That was a good
but
retort.
Like, you're smarter than me. Cool. Anyway, the point is that like I always felt a little inferior or bad about the number of movies I'd seen or, how well read I was. And then a friend of ours was just like, hey, every person has a movie that they haven't seen that it's totally valid for everyone in the room to be like, oh my God, you haven't seen this movie. We're not talking about a deep cut. We're saying like everyone's got a blind spot of a famous movie. Like, oh my God, you haven't seen Jurassic Park. You haven't seen Star Wars. Everybody's got one of those. You know what I mean? And I really took it to heart, and I think it's true. Maybe not like Drea Clark, who watches 3 movies a day and has been a festival programmer for years. But I take it back. Maybe she does. She might even. Anyway, it was a mentality that I wanted to carry with myself. And I had not seen The French Connection, which is like on most top 100 movies of all time. I watched it on a plane the other day, and I nearly tore my hair out. It is so goddamn good.
Oh, okay.
It's like
you tear your hair out when things are good.
It's like really tense. It's like really, it's like this insane thriller starring Gene Hackman, the late Gene Hackman. And when Gene Hackman died, I was sad, mostly because of Royal Tenenbaums. I'd seen The Conversation. He's really incredible in that. But The Conversation plus Royal Tenenbaums plus French Connection, I was like, oh, I get it now. This guy was it. Like when he was in his prime, he was really an incredible actor. And he plays a real piece of shit in The French Connection. But so I'm watching this movie, and I know it's sacrilege to watch it on a plane, but like there's a chase sequence, Oren, that is so insane. I was grinding my teeth. I couldn't look away. It was so gnarly. I look up, I was like, how did they shoot this? How did they shoot this sequence? And it's also, remember, this is in the 70s. It's not like there's like a ton of carnage. It's not like it's mild compared to a Fast and the Furious movie or something like that. But it's just like so dangerous feeling, so erratic feeling. You're just like, these people are tired on this chase. They're gonna hurt somebody. They're gonna hurt themselves. They can barely stand up, and they're driving at these insane speeds. How on earth did they make this movie? It turns out that John Frankenheimer, the director, who was a bit of a maniac himself, became good friends with the NYPD during this time. And this French Connection is like a movie that really depicts cops in a honest and realistic way that we hadn't really seen before. And so they bribed the locations manager. He skipped town. He like moved away. Like the locations, the New York, LA guy was just gone, or New York, film New York was gone, just like on an island somewhere. And the cops were just like, kind of just like let him do whatever he wanted. Frankenheimer had like kind of talked shit about the stunt driving for the scene. And the stunt driver's like, show up at 8 a.m. tomorrow and I'll show you what's what. And they just drove 90 miles an hour down open roads, running red lights, through like pedestrian traffic. And those shots are in the movie, and they feel dangerous because they were. It's like fully illegal and immoral to shoot a movie this way. And we got one of the best car chases of all time. We will never get one that good ever again, basically. Like it will never feel so unhinged and crazy. So anyway, most of you are like, yeah, dude, I saw The French Connection. You're right. It's great. Revisit it. If you haven't seen it, go watch that movie. I thought it was going to be a drag, and it's so fun.
Yeah. I have not seen it, but I'll check it out.
Check it out, man. You would like it.
Though on my to-do list.
Hackman is a real piece of shit in the movie. Like the cops are like awful, racist jerks. It's like a pretty nihilistic film. So it's weird that I'm saying it's fun. Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
cool.
Kaplan, what you got?
I got one is just like a random realization I had this week, which is if you are a production designer, costume designer, you know what a really great skill is to have nowadays is making decks.
Sure.
Like get really good at freaking Google Slides, because especially if you work in commercials, but probably in any sort of filmmaking, you will sell your ideas better, and you'll help the directors sell their ideas better, and you'll get things approved faster, and people want to hire you again and again because you make these great decks.
I think that maybe I think that's true for all people.
Yeah, maybe
like literally anybody.
It's in today's landscape with AI and people just being able to make beautiful images out of anything in Shot Deck and like all these resources and Canva, Google Slides. Like I can't think of a more important skill than making good decks. I mean, obviously as directors, we have to do it for treatments. Like focus on it. Think about fonts, think about the details, think about page numbers, about color palettes. Like look at good treatments, look at good things like that. Like today when we're done recording this, I have to go do a locations presentation tomorrow for some potential locations, and I'm going to have to make a deck, and it's going to have to look really good for me to convince people that they should go with the locations I'm recommending.
When you say you're making a deck, is there a standard format from the production company or agency? Like, can you kind of use their template?
No, I'll probably just take like the background from like the agency's deck, and then I'll write like, the name of the brand and location deck or location options. And then I kind of made these Google maps that show how I'm trying to get 3 houses that are walking distance from each other.
Oh, yeah.
In 3 different neighborhoods. So I'll have like Google Maps and like kind of 7 options in each neighborhood. And we need the kitchen and the living room of each house.
Where are you shooting in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So I have
That's
like
great,
a Hancock Park
cool
segment. I have 12 locations there that I'm looking at. I have 12 locations in Studio City area. And then I have like 5 locations in Eagle Rock. And it's not that we can't shoot different houses on different days, but my dream is that like our art department is dressing tomorrow's house, and
you're poking your head in.
We're walking over there and giving notes.
Yeah.
So, but I know that some of these, location photos are crappy. Some of them are so low resolution and things, and I need to really choose the right angles and the right photos and like put the right captions on for them to know like, hey, we're going to cover this counter, this ugly marble counter. We're going to cover it with like a fake butcher block, counter. And this is how it's going to be more relatable. And then we're going to change out this like dirty brown couch to like a Joybird bright green couch or whatever.
You can borrow mine if you want.
Yeah. Mr. Matt Enlow's couch. And they're like, oh, Mr. Matt? Heard of that guy.
Yeah. But you're not him.
So that's my first thing. Get really good at making decks. There's like no more important skill right now in the world of film, from my experience.
No, I'm saying in business in general.
Oh, yeah. And selling yourself in any sort of creative business.
Or communicating ideas.
Yeah. My second thing, I think a lot of people saw this, including you, but if you Google Bob Odenkirk, Mike Birbiglia kids, there's this interview. Bob Odenkirk was on Mike Birbiglia's podcast. And to paraphrase, Mike Birbiglia asked Bob Odenkirk who he's jealous of, I think. Bob Odenkirk said, I'm jealous of people with like young kids at home because they aren't wondering what their purpose is, what their goal is every day. They just know there's these kids. We got to take care of them. We got to keep them alive. We got to keep them happy. We got to give them fulfilling lives. And I thought it was just like, Kara, my wife, forwarded it to me, but I also saw it. A bunch of people posted it.
Yeah, basically any one of our friends who has a parent has. Yeah.
But I thought it was like an interesting, even if you don't have kids, it was an interesting perspective on like stressing out about how much you're accomplishing, on a basis.
Wrote for SNL, had a cult HBO sketch show that then we brought back. Then he was on the greatest TV show of all time, arguably. And then he made the spinoff even better. And then he made 2 hit action movies. And homie's like, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of stressed about what am I supposed to be in this world?
Yeah. But I feel like kind of the overall message is like, if you have people in your life that you love, and you help them and they help you, that should be satisfying on its own. And then like anything you accomplish in work is like a nice bonus thing.
He's nobody.
He is nobody. 2 theaters this fall.
I thought it was Mr. Show. Anyway, good talking, Oren. If you have questions, thoughts, notes for us, hit us up at justshootapod@gmail.com or message us on Instagram. That's been working out pretty well lately. I owe some people some messages. If you're listening, I apologize. And you can follow me at Mr. Matt Enlow across all social media, even Letterboxd.
And I'm at O Kaplan on Instagram. This episode was edited by Kevin O. Yang. Social media is being run by Lily Bouvier. And producer is Tyler Small. And you're listening to music from the Free Music Archive and artist Jazar. And we will catch you all next time. Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.